Hey, what's up y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My name is FinestXI, and in this video we're going to talk about the best time to start playing Escape from Tarkov. This idea just popped into my head and I realized something. There's a lot of speculation and a lot of questioning on everyone's end that's new to the game on when is the best time they should be starting, and a lot of them, at least from what I've experienced, will wait until the wipe hits. And I think there's a couple reasons that's an okay idea, but there's also a couple reasons that that's actually just a bad idea. So let's talk about it now. All right, so you just picked up Tarkov and now you're in every streamer's chat asking, hey, when should I start playing? And when is wipe? Should I wait till wipe? Etc. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so if you're new around here, a wipe is when in Escape from Tarkov, everybody resets. The game wipes everybody's account and it's like everyone starts at level 1 as if it's the first day they ever opened the game. They have nothing. They're completely level 1. That's a wipe. Everybody starts out at level 1. They do this every, I don't know, 6 to 8 months. Whenever they add new quest lines, new maps, whenever they make big changes to the game and they need everybody to reset so they can go through all the testing like normal again, they do a wipe. No one ever really knows until it's actually time for the wipe. I recommend like following BSG, Battlestate Games Twitter. They'll let you know when things are happening. Don't ask streamers, they don't really know. Okay, anyway, moving on. So most people's first instinct is to wait until the wipe hits to start playing Tarkov because everybody's going to be at level 1, so they'll have the best chance at beating opponents starting off on the same exact footing, no disadvantage, right? Well, that's the thought process behind it, but there's a little more to it than that, and there's a couple of reasons why it doesn't actually work out that well doing it that way. So let me explain. Tarkov is an incredibly difficult game. I think everyone realizes that. It's pretty obvious once you start playing. The game's difficult and it takes some time to get used to everything, all the mechanics and all the workings of the game. A lot of people are repeat Tarkov players, veteran Tarkov players, and when wipe hits, they have all the knowledge that they could ever need on how to move in the game, where to go, what to loot, how to play, how to kill, how to win. Even if you're at level 1, those main core tactics never really change. So think of it as like the ability to ride a bicycle. If you take like a pro bike rider and you take away his, $5,000 bike and then replace it with a $200 bike, he's still gonna know how to operate and he's still gonna know how to ride that bike. It's not gonna be as ergonomically friendly, it's not gonna feel as good, but he's still gonna know everything he needs to know about how to successfully ride that bike. It's essentially the same way when a wipe hits. You take away the veterans' guns, their money, all of the cool stuff they unlocked. Yes, they're back at level 1 with the bad gear, but they know how to win and succeed in Tarkov, where you, as a guy who's just now learning how to ride his bike, you have to take the time to learn how to ride that bike before you can even get up to upgrading your bike. Does that make any sense? When you start playing Tarkov, you have months of suffering to go through where you have to learn how to move, learn how to travel between the maps, learn how to shoot the guns accurately. There's so much to know. You're gonna die a lot in the beginning. I'm sorry, it just needs to be said. So while everybody may be starting out as level 1 when the wipe does hit, the couple of issues here are everyone else who's been playing Tarkov is already gonna know how to succeed, and they're still gonna beat you even if everyone has bad weapons like pistols or cheap AKs with horrible recoil. They're still gonna know, the guys who've been playing are still gonna know how to win versus you who needs to learn how to play at all. That's going to be my first point as to why you shouldn't start when the wipe hits. My second point is going to be a big part of Tarkov is the tasking. There's 5 or so traders in the game. They give you missions to complete. Everyone has the same set of missions and everyone does them. As soon as wipe hits, it's the big thing to do to level up. Unlock traders, unlock better gear. The problem then becomes when you have to do something like go to a specific place on the first map. Every single person in the beginning is going to that place and either doing that task or fighting the people who are there to do that task. So you end up having hundreds more people doing the exact same thing you're trying to do. Instead of say 5 months, 6 months into a wipe, no one is doing that task that you're trying to do, and it could end up being a lot easier. So my second point as to why it's not a great idea to start when wipe hits is because you're gonna be on the same page as everybody else, and you're gonna have to fight everybody else to do the same tasking and same missions, which could end up being a horrible experience for you as a new player because everyone everyone's just going to outgun you anyway, because they're simply better at listening for enemy footsteps, they're better at moving around, knowing where the cover is, knowing where people tend to go. A whole bunch of reasons why it's going to be a lot more difficult to get that tasking done at wipe time versus later in the wipe when no one's doing those tasks anymore. So those are two reasons why you shouldn't start the game at wipe time. Let me talk about why you should start the game, say, more in the middle of a wipe towards the end of a wipe, because there's actually some really good reasons. First of all, it's like I was just talking about, all the tasking that you're going to have to do is not being worked on later in the wipe. So when you need to go to a specific location and grab an item, you're going to be the only one doing it, and therefore you're going to run into a lot less resistance than you probably would at the beginning of a wipe when there's 100 people doing that same thing that you are at any given time. But we already covered that. Let me talk about another reason why starting mid to late wipe is a better idea for you: the flea market. So once you hit level 10, you get access to the flea market. Anything you have that's found in raid, you can sell for whatever price you want. It's a open market for people to buy and sell things on. The flea market at the beginning of a wipe is a madhouse, for lack of better words. There are people trying to get the most money they can for any item possible, because we all need like hundreds of items in the beginning to upgrade our hideout, to progress. We all want to use the same best armor, best guns. In the beginning of a wipe, the flea market is at the most expensive it's going to be at the whole wipe, because everybody knows that what they're selling is vital for hundreds and thousands of people, so they can get really good money for it. I always like to use the example of the corrugated hose. You need a ton of them to upgrade your hideout. I have seen those things go for 200,000 plus rubles a piece at the beginning of wipes, and I have seen those same corrugated hoses down at 20,000 rubles towards the end of a wipe when no one needs them anymore. You will literally save hundreds of thousands, if not definitely millions of rubles, starting later in the wipe. If you just want to buy your way through the hideout and buy a bunch of the items that you need, you will literally save millions of rubles, because they'll be a fraction of what they were at the beginning of the wipe. So it actually ends up being better for newer players to start later on, because they need to spend less money to get the things they need to progress. And not just the things they need to progress, but just items like armor and weapons and ammo actually ends up becoming cheaper over time as well, because so many people have access to those ammos and armors. So many people are farming them and putting them up on the flea. There's a higher supply and still the same or less of a demand, so that dictates prices be lower for the general masses. So that's actually a good reason to start later in the wipe. A lot of things are going to be a lot cheaper for you. Okay, another reason why starting later in the wipe is better for you. So this one's a little bit of an unfortunate point, but it is still a point that needs to be made. Tarkov is a game of cycles. It's just how it is when you have wipes. There are going to be people that come for the wipe, play the game, and then get bored, play other games until the next wipe hits. If you look at the viewer metrics on Twitch for something like Tarkov, what you end up seeing is at wipe time, the game is as popular as it gets. From that point on until the next wipe, it's a straight, basically downward decline as far as viewership goes. Now, I know this is Twitch metrics, but it's actually also applicable to players as well, because the same thing happens to the guys that are playing the game instead of watching the game. You get it, you do the tasks, you level up, you get less, you have less and less to do as wipe goes on, so eventually you just stop playing it and you play something else until Tarkov adds something new. Using that reasoning, towards the end of wipes, there's actually less players on the maps. Now, I and many other streamers can be seen complaining about this all the time, especially like in the past week. There have been games where I just cannot find anybody, and I'm very PvP oriented. I'm actually seeking out people to fight because that's what I find fun. If I'm looking for people on these maps and I can't find people, think about a new player who's trying to get his missions done or loot in peace. You're gonna have a much easier time when the maps are less populated. You're gonna have less interference from other players, therefore it's gonna be easier for you to go figure out how to loot, how to move, how to shoot, how to play, and how to actually survive raids during the lull periods of Tarkov where there's less players on the game versus the beginning of wipe when everybody comes back to the game. So there's yet another reason why it may benefit you to start now rather than starting at wipe. Now, a couple of final points I want to make here about the best time to start in Tarkov, and then we'll wrap it up. I've been around for many wipes now, and one big thing that a lot of people seem to forget is how stressed out the servers get on or around wipe day or wipe time. I think it was 0.12. When 0.12 hit, it was like the most massive peak the game ever had. The entire first day, I think I was streaming for 8 to 12 hours and I got like 5 raids in, because it was actually taking, I think, 30 plus minutes to get into a game. And then there were so many issues at that time. I don't even want to think about it, but essentially just trying to get into a game, not not even getting into the game and playing it out, it would take about an hour to get in and out of a match, just due to bugs and technical difficulties and server overload. So if you're planning on hopping on Tarkov for the first time ever, as soon as wipe day hits, you may be very disappointed when, say, you took the day off for work and you can't even play the game the entire day because of the server overload. So I'll go ahead and wrap this up here, get some final thoughts in. But before I go on, I do want to mention that wipe time in Escape from Tarkov is essentially the Christmas of the game. It is incredibly fun. It's a joy to play the game with everybody on the same missions at the same levels, using the same gear, the worst armor, the worst guns, and everything like that. It's nothing short of amazing during wipe time in Tarkov. But I think it's important that we realize that all that fun and all that enjoyment does not necessarily equivalent to being able to learn the game better. I 100% think you should play during wipe time, no doubt about it. That's the best time to play Tarkov. For anyone out there that's about to start learning the game, I just recommend you start now, whether it's mid wipe, late wipe, or shortly after the wipe has begun. Do not wait. It is in your best interest to just start playing the game. Like I said, you know, things are going to be cheaper when you start. There's going to be less people doing the tasks that you're doing, and no matter who you are, the first thing you're going to have to do in Tarkov is learn how to succeed, and that is simply going to be difficult at any time. It's not going to be any easier if the opponent's a level 1 or level 100. You're going to have a hard time in the beginning no matter what. So you should just get that out of your head now. Expect to suffer, but expect to love it, because that's what Tarkov is all about. So that's my thoughts on the matter. I think you should just start playing now. No time like the present. Get out there and enjoy Tarkov. I think we've listened to me ramble on enough here. I think it's about time to wrap this video up. Guys, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help out the channel, and I really appreciate it. Also know I stream on Twitch all the time, so if you have any questions about Tarkov, please stop on by over there. I'll be more than happy to help you out. That's literally what I love doing the most, is helping people learn Tarkov and getting them acclimated to this incredibly difficult game. So don't be a stranger. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.